Hello, internet people. You have to forgive me if my face looks weird. It's like super bright out. But I want to talk a little bit about spiritual bypassing. And so, I find that, especially in places like the New Age community, this can happen a lot. If you're not familiar with the term of spiritual bypassing, think like toxic positivity. So, I notice this happening a lot when someone wants to come forward about something traumatic that happened to them as part of their healing process. Toxic positivity is going to look like people being like, oh, you're just being negative, you need to just focus on the positives. And I just want to point out that life is not all positive. Ignoring either the negative or the positive in life doesn't give you a clear picture of reality. And sure, it would be great if life could be all positive, but that's just not real. And it's not balanced either. I personally have definitely lived life where I was really focused on negatives and I didn't recognize positives, and it depressed me severely. And even to this day, if I focus only on the bad things happening in life, I will get incredibly depressed. But likewise, too, I can't only focus on the positives, because that does lead to a sort of spiritual bypassing. People are allowed to talk about the negative things that have happened to them. Now, obviously, it's not healthy if you're only looking at the negatives, right? But to only look at the positives is just as toxic, in my opinion. To say, oh, I'm only love and light, well, that's not life. That's not reality. Sure, it's great to, in the midst of troubles or chaos, to try and find the positives instead of spiral into the negative. But one cannot live their life ignoring the negatives. We can't say, oh, this is your story of being abused is too negative to talk about. That is damaging to people, and that is spiritual bypassing, using this pseudo spiritual understanding to harm others into silence. I don't think that's correct or right for others to do. And just, the opposite way it is true as well. Like, if you are trying to share something really positive about your life, like a personal achievement or something, and someone goes, oh, how can you be happy when there's bombs being dropped? It's like, dude, life is not all negative and life is not all positive. And the truth is that both of these things exist simultaneously. And I think in order for us to get the bigger picture, we have to be willing to acknowledge both as true, without ignoring half of reality, I just kind of wanted to rant about that because I saw a post and it was like, oh, I'm only positive love and light. If you're going to talk about anything negative, get out of my sight or whatever. And it's like, okay, I guess, like, that mentality might be helpful if you've been struggling really bad with only seeing the negatives, for sure. But again, it's just the other side of the pendulum, and neither one is where the truth is, because the truth is that there is both positive and negative in life, and we are going to have to experience positive and negative things throughout life. If you think you've only experienced positive, or if you think you've only experienced negative, you're not seeing the full picture. And it's really toxic to demand incomplete understandings from others in order to be around you. I mean, that's definitely your choice. Everyone has their own choices to make. But I myself am not a fan of toxic positivity culture. And I'm not a fan of, focusing only on the negatives too. Like I said, that made me very depressed to do. And so I find that there's a time and a place for everything, So I just kind of wanted to share that little tidbit with everyone. Something to think about. And if you disagree or want to add on, feel free to drop something in the comments or, whatever. All right, bye.